Alright, so just to get back to deserts and hopefully finish this off in the next 10 minutes. We've looked at introducing the Sahel region. Now we're looking at the causes. We've went through climate change already. Okay, our next major cause is this overgrazing just here. Let me move the textbook a little bit so we can get a clearer view. Okay, now with overgrazing, okay, the basic economy. Now, economy, as we know, is jobs, employment, money, and wealth. All right, so the basic economy of the Sahel is animal grazing. So they grow crops, but they mainly herd and rear animals. All right, so we can highlight those two bits there. Now, with this being said, this also has a very negative impact on the soil. Okay, vegetation obviously first, because the animals need vegetation to eat, and also we need to clear land for the animals as well. So once that vegetation is gone, then the soil is exposed, it gets exposed to wind and rainfall, it gets eroded away, desertification. Okay, I'm going to keep saying that sequence because it will feed into your assignment in just a few minutes. Now, over here, when there are too many animals for the amount of grass available, and any protective grass covering was soon stripped away. Okay, so when there's too many animals, if there's a growing population, if there's a demand for these animals, if they start to strip away vegetation, okay, if they start to remove the vegetation, it's very hard for it to re-establish. All right, and that's the key word for your assignment, is re-establish. Skipping on down, the result was a loss of vegetation at an increasing distance from the sources of water and turning the land into a desert. So what the note is I've added here is overgrazing. Okay, well, I should have put animals first. Animals lead to overgrazing. All right, so let me actually remove this. So rearing animals leads to overgrazing, leads to vegetation cannot re-establish itself because it's constantly being used. It can't re-establish. All right, so I want you to remember that for your assignment. Let's keep moving on to the last page with the Sahel region very quickly. Okay, the next reason is population. The next cause is population growth, and we're going to do two big sections of highlighting here. So as the population has grown, so too has the pressure on the land. Farmers have been forced to grow crops on land which is more vulnerable to erosion. So the erosion comes because of the farming, the animal grazing, and the deforestation, which we'll get to shortly. And to grow the same crop year after year on the same piece of land which had previously been allowed to rest or be fallow. Fallow means to have an area of land not used for anything, so it can regain nutrients and start to rebuild itself. Okay, so what happened was, because there's so many people demanding food, farmers couldn't afford to leave land empty, so they farm it all year round, taking all the nutrients away, turning it essentially to dust or sand. This led to overcultivation. Now this will be a word in your assignment as well. So overcultivation removes vegetation. Okay, when we overcultivate, we remove it. So you can add removes veg there. The increase in population has also led to a greater need for fuel wood. And again, I've circled this and gone down to this little note here I'll come to in a second. Villagers who have to walk further each year in search of wood cause deforestation and accelerate desertification. So looking for fuel wood leads to deforestation, which leads again to vegetation cover being removed. So we're cutting down trees, actively removing the vegetation. Again, pay close attention to these words and the sequence of events for your assignment. All right. Results very quickly. We're going to add 3 steps here because this will finish off your assignment as well and help you get a good grade. So in all cases the soil loses its protective vegetation cover. So step 1, the results are overgrazing, overcultivation, fuel wood. Vegetation cover is lost. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2, the soil is now exposed to wind and the occasional downpour of rain. I've added the word rain just there. So step 2 is it's exposed to wind and rain, and step 3 then, increasingly at risk of erosion, that leads to desertification. All right, so these things up here, population growth, overcultivation, overgrazing, deforestation, they remove the vegetation, it becomes exposed to wind, it gets eroded away, and then you are left with a desert. All right, very quickly, is the desert advancing? I want to write down view 1 here. Okay, and there's view 2 just back up the top. I'll go to that in a second. There's concern that the Sahara Desert is advancing southwards between 5 and 10 kilometers a year. Attempts have been made to try and halt its progress, such as planting trees and shrubs to create a green belt. There was a huge project across Africa. It's still ongoing as far as I'm aware, called the Green Wall Scheme or project, where they planted trees the whole way across the north of Africa, a big wall of trees essentially, to try and secure the soil and stop it eroding away. All right, so if you have any interest, you can Google that as well. The second view, we're not going to do this here, okay? The second view then is recent satellite photographs have shown, actually, contrary to that belief, that the Sahara has not made any significant advances southward. All right, so it's view 2. I've added view 2 just there. So there's actually a debate going on as to what exactly is happening. All right. Moving on very quickly, this is your assignment. So I'll just lift the book, page 261. Assignment, number 7. You're going to do A, 1, 2, and 3, B, and C. Please do not forget C. All right. Now, very simple. For A, 1, 2, and 3, you use this map here. Right? Which desert lies to the north of the Sahel? 1 mark. Very simple. Name the 4 countries in the Sahel. Name 4 countries in the Sahel affected by desertification. This area shows you this color here. Okay, so name any 4 countries. We also listed, or sorry, highlighted, I should say, some of these countries here. All right. Again, I want full sentences for all this work, please. Now, name 2 countries that would be affected if severe desertification spread 100 kilometers further south. Obviously, we got our north arrow and we got our scale. So north is that way. You should figure out which way south is and which countries, 2 countries would be affected if the desertification kept spreading south. All right. Now, B is tricky. You can draw this out on folder sheet. Okay, you've actually been scanned the document as well, but if it's probably easier to draw it out yourself, the boxes don't actually need to be that big. Copy the diagram below, which shows the process believed to be causing, the processes believed to be the cause of desertification, completed by putting the following words and phrases in the correct box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 empty boxes, 9 phrases. Our 2 major causes, as we've already explored, are climate change and population growth. So let's look at climate change first. Which one of these bullet points talks about affecting rainfall or temperature? That will probably go in here. What's the knock-on effect if temperature increases or rainfall decreases? All right. What's going to happen to vegetation? Is it going to live or die? You should be able to figure that one out. The next 3 caused by population growth. More animals reared. What's the word in here? Talking about when you have more animals, they over something. More land needed for crops. Again, when we're farming too much, what's the word that might go in there? More energy needed for cooking. Now again, we added some notes to the text that mentioned what do we need to do? What do they burn? What do they need to do to get that energy source? So you should be able to fill those in. Okay. These 3, a little bit tricky. These 2 here feed into 1. All right. So what happens when there's too much crops and too many trees being grown down? What happens to vegetation? What happens to vegetation if there's too hot or not enough rain? And what happens to vegetation when animals are involved, when there's involved here? The 3 of these will have the word vegetation in them. Okay. These last ones then look at the last causes where we put the steps 1, 2, and 3 in place and figure out which of those steps are mentioned here and put them in the correct order. Okay, nice and easy. C, please don't forget C, 2 marks for each one. Explain how each of the following can lead to desertification: climate change, overgrazing, overcultivation, deforestation. Okay, so again, some simple explaining there. Please head up a folder sheet. All right, answer these in full sentences. You do not need to write the question. Okay, and then take a photo of that work and email it back to me. Please email that through Plus Portal. If you don't have Plus Portal set up, you really need to get it sorted, as I will be only accepting assignments through that because I need to give you feedback, which I can do on Plus Portal. Okay, these videos will be posted in class summary, so maybe try and get familiarized yourself with that as soon as possible. Any questions, drop me a line on WhatsApp. Okay.